Welcome back, welcome back. If you want to have good luck in your life, good fortune, good things happen to you, start listening to KHTS. They have great shows. Our show is considered one of those great shows. It's called Job Talk1. We're heard all over the country. Go to hometownstation.com. You can listen at your desk, in your cubicle, in your car. Hometownstation.com. The best part about it is we have the best radio app in the country. The best. Go to the App Store and download KHTS 1220 AM. You can take us anywhere. Aaron Moskowitz, the coach, and, of course, the chairman of the board, Tom Cairns, who was the HR director. He was at, like, the biggest job in America. 230,000 people reported to him. He was like the king.
What was the budget over there?
None of your business.
I think it's public. Actually, I think it's public information.
It was the total budget was $43 billion at that time.
$43 billion. Wow. Did you have
my department was only $50 million.
Did you have a American Express black card? You did, didn't you? Huh? Did you fly first class and all that?
No first class.
Did you ever fly on Trump's plane?
Never.
No,
but I've been on one of those. Those are that's a nice way to fly.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, welcome back, Job Talk 1. And Caitlin's on we can't tell you where she is because she's in a bunker somewhere. We're not allowed to give her location out. She runs a company called the Mentat. She's out of New York. Can I say that? Out of New York?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Out of New York. I love New York. I love New York. People are always criticizing the people there. They're the nicest people in America. I'm serious. I've been in New York many times. Never had a problem. Nicest people in America. All right, so stay with us, Caitlin. So here's the subject for this segment, Block B, and that is, Tom, would you rather get fired versus quit?
Would me personally?
Yeah.
That's a good question because there used to be a stigma attached to getting fired. And I think there are some people that have a difficult time walking away from an environment that they should. And so to help them, you need to push them and to be fired. And I might be one of those. That could be a candidate, where I might tolerate
because
a
a lot
more.
of people literally stay stuck for years in a job because they don't either have the guts to quit or they don't have the confidence in themselves. They have low self-esteem to go look for another job. Aaron has you've been fired how many times? You've been fired a lot, haven't you?
No.
No? Have you ever been fired from a job?
No. Laid off, yes.
Laid off?
Yes.
So that's code. Caitlin, have you ever been fired from a job?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so Tom and Caitlin, because they're the two experts. So laid off is code word for being fired, isn't it? Be honest.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It can be legit too.
So I
It just
stand
depends
corrected.
if you're the only one that's laid off, that might be the signal.
It seems I'd rather be
That's
fired
it.
than laid off because you're laid off. You're a nothing. You're a nobody. I got laid off from my job. It's like you're meaningless in the whole scope of things. You're a nothing, a nobody.
I guess
you're worthless. Laid off? Stop it.
Keep
already.
going, Coach.
Stop
You
it.
just destroyed Aaron's self-esteem.
No, I'm still here. But there's also I guess, third solution here. I guess some people in certain positions are actually negotiating a termination.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Let's go around the table. So, Caitlin, I think what Aaron just said makes a lot of sense. Look, you don't you have to have the guts to go into your boss's office and say, look, I don't think it's working out. I think I've got a sense that this is not the right thing for both of us. Can we work something out? That takes some courage, doesn't it, Caitlin, to do that?
Yeah, and I would always recommend to people to have conversations that are, you should have a conversation every year about what your expectations for your job are, and go talk to your boss and say, these are the things that I need, for the next year in order to be fulfilled, and am I meeting these expectations, and have that two-way dialogue, and that way you can, if they're not giving you, you've been clear about what will keep you as well.
All right, here's the fact. So if you quit, Tom, you get no benefits, right? There's no...
Well, you're eligible for unemployment.
If you quit, you're eligible for unemployment?
You may have a waiting period before you're eligible to participate, but generally speaking, you don't get any benefit, but you can at some point in time, even if you quit.
Really? Okay, I just learned something. Now, if you get fired, you get.
It can be contested, but you're more than likely going to get it. Yeah.
And then, what about health insurance? Don't you have that COBRA if you get fired?
COBRA, you would have the opportunity to participate in
Right.
that. And this is before, say, Obamacare, so I have no idea. But I think it still applies.
Yeah. What about you, Aaron? When you've been laid off or fired or whatever. So it's interesting, Caitlin, Tom, and Aaron. My generation, and Tom, you're close to my generation. If you had more than like 4 jobs, you were a loser, right? I mean, right, Tommy?
Yes.
I mean, so today, if you have 30 jobs, people go, "Wow, everybody wants you," right? I mean, it's a whole different set of rules today.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Caitlin, how many jobs have you had? I mean, in your life, how many jobs?
I've probably had like 10 jobs.
10 jobs.
Wow.
See, that's a winner. There's a girl that's doing
Wow.
something in her life. There's a girl that's
She's
accomplished.
going places.
No, but
like as in many different addresses. Like me. Like me.
Yeah. No, but both of you who are having multiple jobs, think about, I'm going to be serious for a second.
Yeah.
Both of you in about 5 years are really going to have enough background to be so valuable to that company. That may be your last job when you get to 55.
And we know where to go.
Exactly.
We know where to go. We've seen all the different personas and stereotypes of leadership,
Exactly, yeah.
and we know where we should be.
So the show is called Job Talk1 here, our hometown station, KHTS AM 1220 right here in Southern California, heard all over the country on hometownstation.com. So here's another question for the gang here. Job culture. So you, Aaron Moskowitz, are in the high-tech industry. Can't tell everybody what you do. You're not a nuclear scientist, but you're close to it.
Right.
So you work in a collaborative environment where there's no walls. Caitlin, do you have walls in your company?
No, we don't.
Tommy, when you and I were coming up, we had walls, man.
We
So the guy with the biggest title had the biggest office, right?
In the corner.
In the corner, right? Today, these kids, they work in the open, which I kind of like. Don't you think? Because open communication, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think about it?
You know what? I'm smiling, which nobody can see on radio, but the part about the open.
You're on YouTube.
Okay. I better.
You're on YouTube.
But when the open spaces, and I don't know what it's like in Caitlin's office, but if you go to Zappos or you look online there, that many people have brought their own little personal effects and trees and other sorts of things, and they've actually made their area a separate area as a cubicle. So here we are out in the open, but let me bring all of my thing around and I'm going to kind of make myself private. So it's funny in that kind of a situation.
What do you think I would bring to my little desk?
Ducks.
There you go.
Anything
Absolutely.
organ ducks, helmet, hat.
Everything. So you're listening to KHTS. The show's called Job Talk 1. And incidentally, every show is podcast. So tonight, Caitlin, 9 p.m. your time in New York, you can go to KHTS, go to podcasts, and you can listen to yourself on KHTS. Every show is podcast. And then next week on YouTube, all our shows are filmed, and you can see how adorable I am.
Excellent.
On Job Talk 1. So in the job culture today, Aaron Moskowitz, because you work with a lot of smart people, a lot of high-tech people, do you actually talk during the day? So you work in a collaborative effort with other people. Are you talking about what's going on last weekend or coming up this weekend, or are you focused in on your task at hand? Be honest now.
You know, it's somewhat challenging to work in such a situation. Although you can collaborate with your coworkers, everybody has projects and deadlines to meet. I actually find that when people are in an office, they are potentially collaborating or engaging in more conversation with people outside the office, which sometimes is tied to sales and oftentimes can be seen as more important than getting tied up talking to the guy who happens to sit next to you in the office.
Tommy, it seems to me, and I was serious when I was talking to Caitlin when we were in Block A, that I think a 6-hour and I'm serious when I say this, a 6-hour workday versus 8 hours. In other words, you have a 6-hour, you come to work, you are left alone, you're not interrupted by management or your coworkers, you complete your task, and you get the heck out of there. It seems to me you're going to be much more refreshed, much more interested. What's your take on that?
I think there's a couple aspects to that. One is that if you can turn your productivity on and off like that, and it depends on the type of job that you have. And so there are certain jobs that could certainly lend themselves to much greater productivity in a smaller time frame. However, some professional jobs that may require some thinking and some other aspects that to say, okay, now I can get that brilliant idea in the next 5 hours or 5.5 hours.
That's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of pressure and probably a little difficult to do. So I believe that you need to manage your time, but also to be able to allow for aspects for creativity and innovation and thinking.
But people Caitlin, jump in on this. Would you rather know that you have 6 hours, you're task oriented, your boss has said, look, just get your job done. We're going to leave you alone. We're going to ask your fellow coworkers to leave you alone. 6 hours, you're in, you're focused, you're working on your job, and then you're out of there. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, I think that people are beginning to do that from home. So I would take it even a step further and say, let's make it output-driven. So
Unless
what
you
am I
have
supposed
kids.
to achieve in the 6 hours, and does it matter where I am?
Well, that's another show where I'm going to have you back because I have concerns about. I know, Tommy, more and more jobs are you're working from your house, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are they?
Yes.
What's that called?
Telecommuting.
Yeah, telecommunication. So I understand all that, but every time Aaron is one of the busiest guys in America. I mean, he is unbelievable. I can't tell people what you do for a living, but. Your daughter's always in the background. Daddy, give me the phone. Daddy, give me the phone. I mean, that's just unprofessional.
I agree.
Yeah.
But,
why don't you put your daughter in daycare or something like that? I mean, did you ever think of daycare?
this is a question for telecommuters.
Well, it's a big issue. The show's called Job Talk1. Tommy Cairns and the coach, and of course, our very special guest from New York. She runs a company called the Mentat. The Mentat. What they do is they act as a mentor for you. What they do is they help you get a better pathway to a better job. They optimize your resume. They take the friction out of your job looking progress. I love that.
Who doesn't need this?
I need it. I got 1 foot in, 1 foot out every day. You make one mistake on radio and you're done.
And you're fired.
You're fired. All right, we're talking about the culture in the workplace. So here's the other thing. Do you think that having a refrigerator, ping pong tables, all the amenities at home make it easier for people to work, Caitlin? Do you think it enhances your job performance to have a microwave oven? Let me think. What else do you have?
Well, I heard they're
office?
getting rid of all these perks.
Seriously?
And the
From
employees never liked them. They never use any of these things.
They use the refrigerator.
I was going to give you a little story. We actually put a ping pong table in our breakout room when I was working in television in Miami. And I took a lot of resistance from our management about, why are you bringing this in? We're going to lose employees. And part of my response back to them was, well, at least you'll know where they are. and if you need them and you're ready to go. And so sure enough, that ping pong table got used a lot. And it was good for morale.
Oh, wow.
And the managers obviously got used to the idea of it as well.
So you also ran NBC, didn't you?
I was senior VP of HR, yes.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's so honored to have you involved every day on our show.
Yes, indeed.
Thank
when
you.
you look at you were in the entertainment industry, then you worked for government. So to me, it's like 180 degrees difference in the type of person that you have to manage. Am I right on this? Didn't you have many more creative people like Justin that you had to I mean, I can't imagine managing Justin day in and day out. Temperamental,
volatile. He's a live wire.
Yeah, I mean, and then you're.
But I would still recommend him.
I would too. I love him.
And he's rested right now.
He is rested because he's sleeping through our show on KHTS AM 1220 here in Southern California. He's sleeping. But, I mean, you have such different personalities, it would seem.
Different personalities, but, everybody are human beings, and you have a lot of the same needs. And so it's just a different environment. Perhaps in media, people are very visible. You recognize, who they are. In government, sort of behind the scenes, and you don't see the work they're doing, but they still have the same needs as anyone else.
You don't see the work they're doing. I'm never going to knock you or anything about the government, but he just said it himself. They don't know what the work they're doing. Aaron Moskowitz, that's what he just said. Did he not just say that we don't know what they're doing?
Breaking news.
We don't know what they're doing.
Don't read into that.
Anyway, never mind. The show's called Job Talk 1. Our very special our guest, Caitlin, from New York. Forget about it, Caitlin. The website's called the Mentat, Mentat. They will help anybody. $250. There's a discount, 15%. That's a lot of discount. What do they have to do to get the discount? What do they have to do?
Caitlin, is there a code?
Yeah, there is a code. So it's KT. What is it?
KHTS.
Yeah,
KHTS AM 1220.
So that
KHTS
15. KHTS 15. KHTS 15.
And where do they go?
KHTS 15.
They got to fill out the form.
And you get a 15% discount.
So let me, we talked about job culture a little bit. Let me quickly, look, I'm old-fashioned, so I still pick up the newspaper. When I was coming up, the classified section of the newspaper was huge. Now there's like a half a page. But I noticed everybody has a title. So let's talk for a second. So look at some of these jobs. Look in the paper. So here is, everything is a research analyst, market research analyst, market director, operations director. Everybody's a development director.
Director sounds good.
Really?
That sounds like a good paying job.
What do you have a title, Caitlin?
Well, my title's senior advisor.
There you go. See, there you go. So, would you have taken the job if you weren't given the title senior advisor? I mean, what are you? You're not 60 yet. You're somewhere under 60 years old.
Well, I guess the great thing about being an entrepreneur is you get to give yourself your own title.
Oh, I czar. I would give.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all you've given yourself is senior advisor. That's it. That's your title. I mean,
she's very
obviously you don't have a
very
mother-in-law. Obviously you're not married, because if you're married, you'd have a real title. Right, Tommy? Our show's dedicated to Marianne today, our most loyal listener here in Southern California.
Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you, Marianne. Love have you listen. Everybody on the street there. We're going to take a quick break because our producer is now crazed with all the hand signals. Coming right back, Job Talk 1. This is the fastest hour on radio. Job Talk 1 is also America's #1 job. Hopefully you can learn something, Job Talk career program in the country.
We're going to help you get a job.
And we're going to help you have a better pathway. We're going to take I love what Caitlin said. We're going to take the friction. I mean, there's a lot of friction in trying to get a job. And
Yes.
We're going to talk about that friction when we come back. I'm serious. We'll be right back on Job Talk 1. Hey, our show. It's called Job Talk 1. It's brought to you by Pools by Ben. And let me tell you a little story. There was a tree 3 blocks away, and one leaf fell into my pool, and I panicked, Tom.
Ooh.
I panicked.
Hate when that happens.
I hate that. One leaf, can ruin a whole look on a pool. But I called Pools by Ben. They came right out. They've been my pool service ever since.
What size net did they use?
I don't know.
Okay.
Pools by Ben. Let me tell you what. They're just nice, the nicest people in the world. I'm not lying to you. Also, our show brought to you by Lisa's Tax Service. Lisa can represent you in front of the IRS. And I just want to let you know I love the IRS. But Lisa, if you're having problems or issues, call Lisa at 661-904-2351, and she can help you. She can answer a lot of your questions. Lisa's Tax Service. All right, Tom Cairns, the coach, Aaron Moskowitz here. Show's called Job Talk 1. We will make your life better when it comes to your career or your job. We are America's #1 job and employment show in the country on KHTS here in Southern California, AM 1220. We have a caller that called in, and it's interesting, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people take it if you're like a university president, Tom, you take a sabbatical.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just just a everyday guy like I am, and you decide you want to take some time off, it's called a gap, right?
Yes.
So David, you had a gap in your life. How long was the gap? A year?
The gap was a year, and it wasn't by choice.
Oh my goodness!
Oh.
I don't even want to get into
Aye.
that. So, first of all, how did you survive emotionally? What did you do? Tell us. How in the heck do you take a year off of your life? How did you get back into it? What did you do first?
Well, one of the first things I did, I called a very good friend of mine, Tom Cairns, to talk through with my next steps and what I should be doing with my resume, updating it, and getting it in the proper order.
That was a good decision.
I had a very supportive wife, so we knew we had money saved in case something like that happened. We had a little emergency fund. So
did she budget?
Did she budget?
Yeah.
No, we budget.
Did you guys decrease your expenditures?
Yes, we did.
Wow.
We did at that time. But we got through it. Paid my bills every month. Kept my mortgage. Kept the credit card. Everything was paid. We didn't go into any kind of debt because we were.
Oh, wow.
You always have to be prepared for something like that.
You were telling us about a book that you thought there was a book that was a big help to you. Do you remember the name of the book?
Off the top of my head, it was called All Systems Go: How to Launch a Successful.
I've heard of that book.
Yeah, I've heard of that book too.
That's a good one.
Yeah, All Systems Go. You can find it on Amazon. So I'm interested because being a business coach, being somebody that helps people do better in their job and get great jobs, you have to pay me a lot of money, but I will get you. Look, you can't represent yourself. Do you think ball players, Aaron, go into the general manager?
Somebody's got to say it for you.
I'm the guy.
You cannot represent yourself.
I'm a closer. I'll close your deal, but you're going to have to pay me. So how did you emotionally, that first month, how did you emotionally not just crack up or break down or start to drinking? Or maybe you did.
Just got right to it right away. You got to take it. You got to looking for a job, a full-time job, and that's what I did every day. I was, making connections. I was I was contacting people that I knew. I got some interviews right away, not the jobs I wanted, but you got to keep fresh. So, I would go on interviews just to keep, because I hadn't been on an interview in a while, so I wanted to go on some. And so, I went on a couple interviews that wasn't the job that I wanted, but I just wanted to be, to practice.
So David, 6 months go by, sorry to interject, and you now have a gap.
Yeah.
So now, after 6 months, you got to start explaining this gap.
Well, I did finally started working probably about 6 months after. I did some consulting for a company out of New York City. And Tom can attest to this. The guy that I was consulting for was a little off keel, I guess, a little off kilter. He was kind of a maniac. Yeah. But I needed to provide for my family. So and I live 90 miles from New York City, so I had to commute into New York City on a bus. I had to do what I had to do. You got to do what you have to do.
Yeah, I love your attitude. We're going to be cut off here. Time goes so fast. Can you come back in a couple of weeks? Because you have a story that is very inspirational. And this happens to a lot of people, and a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. But the best thing that I heard is your wife supported you. And I think when you look at the number one thing that goes wrong, especially when you have this gap, is your better half going to stay with you? We're going to have David back. Will you handle this, Tommy, for us?
Sure.
Because it's so important. Our show is called Job Talk 1. We get your emails. We get your texts. We're so excited that you listen to our show. We'll be back next week. Pretty soon, as I said, we're going to be on every day of the week, and you can participate in the show. Our website will be up next week, jobtalk1.com. So excited that you're aboard with us. We'll see you down the road. I'm your coach, Coach Ron Tunick, Tom Cairns, and Aaron Moskowitz on Job Talk 1 here on KHTS AM 1220.